By the mid-2020s, the internet had settled into a new rhythm. The online world was no longer growing in the explosive, chaotic way it had during the early 2010s. Instead, it had matured into a structured, algorithm-driven environment controlled by a small number of powerful platforms. Billions of people were online every single day, interacting with content that was tailored for them by automated systems. But even as the digital landscape became more polished and efficient, misinformation remained as widespread as ever. In many ways, it had become an ordinary part of daily life. Hoaxes were not surprising anymore. They were expected. They existed alongside legitimate news, entertainment, and personal communication, blending into the background of online culture. This era brought about a shift in how hoaxes spread. In earlier years, misinformation traveled through individual posts, viral videos, or shared images. Now, most hoaxes move through recommendation algorithms that showed users content based on their behavior. These algorithms prioritized engagement, meaning the most emotionally charged or dramatic posts rose to the top. The result was an environment where misinformation was not only present, but continuously amplified. Even when platforms attempted to limit false content, the sheer volume of posts made it difficult to contain. One of the major changes during this period was the widespread normalization of artificial intelligence tools. What had once been considered advanced technology was now integrated into everyday apps and devices. People used AI to generate text, modify images, create artwork, and enhance videos. But the same tools that allowed creativity also made it easier for hoaxes to become more convincing. The average user could now produce content that looked professional. This blurred the line even further between authentic information and artificial manipulation. AI generated text became one of the most common sources of misinformation. Users created posts that sounded knowledgeable, authoritative, and well sourced, even when they contained no factual basis. These posts often went viral because they were written in a way that seemed trustworthy. They used confident language, detailed explanations, and familiar formatting. Many people assumed that the information was legitimate simply because it sounded polished. This created a new type of hoax where the deception was not in the visuals but in the writing itself. At the same time, AI generated images had become nearly indistinguishable from real photographs. Photos showing celebrities in unusual locations, politicians engaging in fictional activities, or dramatic scenes from supposed disasters spread widely. Many users shared the images before realizing they were fabricated. Even individuals who were familiar with AI struggled to identify subtle signs that an image was artificial. This made visual hoaxes more effective than ever, as the internet's trust in photographic evidence eroded quickly. Video hoaxes also reached new levels of sophistication. Deepfake tools allowed users to place one person's face onto another person's body with stunning accuracy. Some videos were humorous or artistic, but others were created with the intention to mislead. Clips circulated showing political leaders saying things they had never said or appearing in locations they had never visited. Even short videos, only a few seconds long, had the power to influence opinions. Because video content felt authentic and emotionally immediate, these deepfake hoaxes often spread faster than text based misinformation. Another major trend during the late 2020s involved hoaxes disguised as news updates. Screenshots of fake headlines, fabricated alerts, and manipulated government statements circulated frequently. These hoaxes were often designed to look identical to real posts from major news organizations or government agencies. They used similar fonts, color schemes, and formatting. Some even included fake timestamps and watermarks. Many users encountered these images while scrolling quickly and assumed they were real updates. These hoaxes exploited the habit of skimming information rather than reading it closely. Misinformation about science and technology continued to be widespread during this era. Posts claimed that new devices were secretly spying on users, that certain foods caused immediate health effects, or that new medical treatments were part of hidden agendas. Some hoaxes used scientific terminology to sound credible. Others relied on emotional appeals, suggesting that institutions were hiding information. These claims resonated with users who felt uncertain about the rapidly changing technological environment. Financial hoaxes also became more common. Rumors circulated about bank failures, digital currency crashes, or secret government economic plans. These hoaxes spread quickly because financial uncertainty created strong reactions. People worried about their savings, investments, or employment. Even small financial rumors had the potential to trigger widespread concern. Hoaxes that targeted national or global markets sometimes caused temporary disruptions, demonstrating how misinformation could affect real world economic stability. Social media platforms continued to struggle with these challenges. Many implemented advanced AI systems designed to detect manipulated media or flag questionable content. Some added educational tools that explained how to identify common hoax patterns. Others provided optional verification tools that allowed users to confirm the authenticity of images or videos, but none of these systems could fully eliminate misinformation. As AI tools improved, hoax creators adapted their methods, staying one step ahead. A new form of misinformation also emerged during this period involving real world footage combined with false context. Users posted genuine videos or photos, but paired them with misleading explanations. For example, footage of a natural disaster from one country might be presented as a current event in another. A video of a protest from years earlier might be described as breaking news. These contextual hoaxes were more difficult to debunk because the visual content was real, even though the explanation was not. They spread quickly because users trusted the authenticity of the footage without checking its source or date. Despite the challenges, a growing number of users became more aware of misinformation tactics. Digital literacy programs expanded. Content creators focused on debunking hoaxes gained large audiences. Some platforms provided tools that allowed users to trace the origins of images or check the history of posts. Although these efforts did not eliminate hoaxes, they helped many individuals become more careful and skeptical about the information they encountered. By mid 2020s, misinformation had become a permanent feature of the digital world. It was no longer shocking or unusual. It surrounded every major event, every public discussion, and every social trend. Users had grown accustomed to navigating streams of information where truth and fiction appeared side by side. But beneath this familiarity was a deeper problem. The tools that created misinformation were evolving rapidly. The gap between human created content and AI generated content was closing, and the internet was heading toward a future where identifying authenticity would become even more difficult. The mid 2020s continued to reveal just how deeply misinformation had become woven into the structure of online life. The environment had changed so drastically from the early days of email chains that many users no longer recognized how familiar patterns had returned under new disguises. Old hoaxes resurfaced with modern packaging, new hoaxes were created using advanced tools, and nearly every global event became a magnet for false claims, misleading content, and dramatic exaggerations. In this environment, misinformation operated on a scale unprecedented in human history. One of the most striking developments of this era was the resurgence of classic hoax formats adapted for new platforms. Decades old rumors, such as chain messages warning of platform shutdowns, reappeared on modern services like Instagram, TikTok, and WhatsApp. Instead of being shared as text, these hoaxes were now spread through short videos, eye catching graphics, and AI generated images. The core message remained unchanged, but the delivery was faster, more emotional, and more visually compelling. Many younger users who had never encountered the original forms believed these revived hoaxes immediately. Facebook remained a central platform for misinformation, even as its demographics shifted toward older users. Family groups, local community pages, and hobby groups often became unintentional distribution hubs for hoaxes. Posts warning of new local laws, dangerous criminals, or unusual health threats circulated frequently despite having no factual basis. Many of these hoaxes originated on anonymous websites or foreign social platforms before spreading globally through reposts and screenshots. Because they were shared by trusted individuals, the false claims gained additional credibility. WhatsApp, Messenger, and other private messaging platforms also continued to be major channels for misinformation. Audio clips circulated claiming to contain inside information from doctors, police officers, or government officials. These messages often used urgent language and personal storytelling to increase their impact. Users forwarded them quickly, feeling that they were helping friends and family stay safe. But the private nature of these platforms made it extremely difficult for fact checkers or authorities to intervene, allowing misinformation to spread silently through millions of devices. TikTok played a unique role during this period by blending entertainment with misinformation. Hoaxes frequently appeared in short video formats that mix fiction with dramatic presentation. Some creators claimed to reveal hidden truths about historical events, secret government programs, or scientific discoveries. Others used AI generated imagery to create visuals that appeared convincing at first glance. Because TikTok's algorithm favored surprising or emotionally intense content, these hoaxes often spread far beyond the intended audience. Many users encountered them without context, believing they were real simply because they appeared on their feed. Misinformation also targeted education and academic topics. Posts misrepresented school policies, exaggerated new laws, or spread false claims about classroom activities. Videos alleging unusual or controversial teaching methods gained widespread attention, even when they were based on misunderstandings or completely fabricated situations. These hoaxes often became part of larger political or cultural debates, escalating tension among parents and communities. Another recurring trend in the late 2020s involved rumors about food, medicine, and public health. Even after the height of the pandemic, health-related misinformation continued to spread quickly. Posts claimed that certain products were contaminated, that common foods were suddenly dangerous, or that new diseases were emerging. Some hoaxes involved dramatic claims about household items causing severe illness. Others falsely suggested that governments or corporations were hiding crucial information about everyday goods. These rumors spread easily because people cared deeply about the safety of their families and communities. Financial hoaxes remained a major force as digital currencies, investment apps, and online banking grew in popularity. Posts claimed that major banks were preparing for collapse, that new digital currencies were secretly controlled by government agencies, or that large corporations were facing bankruptcy. Some hoaxes targeted specific communities, encouraging users to withdraw money, sell investments, or avoid certain companies. These rumors created waves of panic and sometimes caused temporary disruptions in financial markets. Technology related hoaxes also expanded during this period. Rumors circulated claiming that new software updates secretly accessed private data, that smart devices recorded conversations continuously, or that companies were inserting hidden surveillance features into everyday electronics. Some of these claims were rooted in half truths or misunderstood technical details. Others were completely invented. These hoaxes thrived because users often felt uneasy about how much technology had advanced and how little they understood its inner workings. Context manipulation remained one of the most effective forms of misinformation. Users shared real videos or images, but attached false explanations that dramatically changed the meaning of the content. A video taken years earlier might be described as occurring in the present. Footage from a different country might be presented as local news. This type of hoax was especially difficult for platforms to manage because the visual evidence itself was real. Only the explanation was false. Many users did not check the original source, leading to widespread confusion. The rapid rise of AI tools further complicated the issue. Users could now generate detailed news-style articles that appeared legitimate but were entirely fabricated. These articles were shared as screenshots, making them look like official reports from known news outlets. AI-generated images and videos made the hoaxes even more convincing. The average user struggled to determine whether content was authentic. This caused many individuals to feel unsure about what to believe, leading to a general atmosphere of mistrust. By the mid 2020s, misinformation had become an expected part of every major news cycle. Whether the event was political, scientific, economic, or environmental, false claims appeared immediately. The moment a story broke, users encountered dozens of competing narratives. Some were genuine misunderstandings, others were deliberate attempts to shape public opinion. The speed at which misinformation spread made it nearly impossible for accurate information to catch up. Despite all of these challenges, awareness of misinformation had grown significantly. Many users had become more careful about fact checking. Educators, journalists, and content creators worked to expose common hoax patterns. Some platforms introduced new tools to verify images and authenticate sources. These efforts helped reduce the impact of certain hoaxes, but they could not eliminate misinformation entirely. The structure of the internet itself, designed for speed, convenience, and engagement, naturally favored content that produced strong reactions. The internet had created an environment where hoaxes evolved alongside technology, adapting quickly to every new tool and trend. From the earliest chain letters of the 1980s to AI generated videos of the 2020s, the nature of misinformation had transformed dramatically, but the underlying pattern remained the same. People were drawn to surprising, emotional, or mysterious information. They shared content quickly, and they rarely stopped to question whether the story was real. By the mid 2020s, the internet had created an ecosystem where misinformation could survive under almost any condition. Platforms were larger, more automated, and more interconnected than ever before. Users were consuming staggering amounts of content every day, and the line between truth and fiction remained blurred. Yet, despite all the advancements in technology, psychology played an equally powerful role in shaping how hoaxes spread. The behavior of users, the structure of online communities, and the emotional nature of digital communication all contributed to the ongoing life cycle of misinformation. One of the most important reasons that hoaxes continued to thrive was the human tendency to react emotionally before thinking critically. In the fast paced environment of social media, users often shared content based on instinct. A post that evoked fear, anger, humor, or excitement was shared quickly. By the time someone slowed down enough to question the accuracy of the claim, the hoax had already reached thousands of people. Misinformation relied heavily on emotional momentum. It did not need to be credible. It only needed to make people feel something strongly enough to hit the share button. Another factor that fueled misinformation was confirmation bias. People naturally gravitated toward information that supported their existing beliefs. When a hoax aligned with a person's worldview, they were more likely to share it without checking its validity. This behavior helped hoaxes form deep roots inside specific online communities. Groups with shared interests, political leanings, or cultural backgrounds often reinforce one another, creating echo chambers where misinformation spread rapidly and faced little resistance. Social pressure also played a role. Many users shared false claims because they wanted to help friends or family members stay informed. Even when they were uncertain, they forwarded messages out of caution, thinking it was better to be safe than silent. This behavior was especially common on private messaging platforms like WhatsApp, where family members often circulated warnings about crime, weather, food safety, or new scams. Most people did not want to be the one who ignored a serious threat, even if the threat was fictional. The structure of online platforms amplified these tendencies. Social media feeds encouraged rapid consumption. Users scrolled quickly, absorbing fragments of information within seconds. Algorithms elevated content that generated strong reactions, regardless of whether it was true or false. Even when platforms attempted to reduce misinformation, the pace of digital communication often outstripped moderation. A correction might appear hours later, but the hoax had already done its damage. Platforms did implement new strategies to combat misinformation. Many introduced stronger fact checking systems, warning labels, and context boxes beneath viral posts. Some experimented with limiting the spread of content flagged as potentially deceptive. Others used AI tools to analyze large volumes of data and identify patterns associated with hoaxes. While these tools were helpful, they were not perfect. Hoax creators adapted by altering keywords, changing image details, or shifting to private channels where moderation was limited. Another challenge arose from the growing distrust in institutions. Fact checking organizations, scientific experts, and government agencies all faced skepticism from segments of the population. When platforms labeled certain posts as false, some users took it as confirmation that the content was being suppressed rather than corrected. This tension made it difficult to reduce the spread of misinformation because corrections were sometimes viewed as part of the hoax. As a result, some users believed hoaxes more strongly after they were debunked. Despite all of these challenges, there were areas where progress had been made. Digital literacy education expanded significantly during the mid 2000s. Schools taught students how to evaluate sources, identify manipulated media, and question suspicious claims. Online courses and educational videos helped adults recognize common misinformation patterns. Content creators dedicated to debunking hoaxes gained large followings and helped expose viral myths quickly. These efforts improved public awareness even if they could not eliminate hoaxes entirely. Older hoaxes continue to survive in new forms. Chain letter style hoaxes that once spread through email now circulated on Facebook, WhatsApp, and TikTok. Rumors from the 1990s appeared again with updated language and AI generated images. Even the classic hoaxes about platforms charging monthly fees resurfaced every year, despite countless official statements denying them. These recurring hoaxes revealed an important truth. The format of the internet changed dramatically, but the psychology behind misinformation remained constant. People feared losing access to free services. They feared hidden dangers. They were curious about secret knowledge. They felt protective over their families and communities, and they enjoyed sharing surprising stories even when they were unverified. These motivations ensured that hoaxes would always have fertile ground to grow. By the middle of the decade, misinformation had become part of the background noise of digital life. Users had grown accustomed to questioning everything they saw. Some approached the internet with skepticism. Others remained vulnerable to dramatic claims. But one thing was clear: hoaxes were not going away. They had adapted through every era of the internet, from fax machines and early email chains to AI generated videos and algorithm driven platforms. They continued evolving because they reflected the oldest aspects of human behavior. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed learning something new today, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment telling us what you thought of this story.